And with us tonight to talk about the potential of drones and the ethics of using them is John Villasenor. He is professor of electrical engineering at UCLA and a senior fellow at the Brookings Institution. And Peter Bibring, senior staff attorney at the ACLU of Southern California. Welcome, both of you gentlemen.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Well, clearly it started in the military, but drones are now migrating to civilian life. And like so many things, the technology is getting ahead of the law. What is your main concern, Peter, when it comes to drones for civilian use?
The ACLU's major concern is really local law enforcement, domestic law enforcement, and the privacy implications when drone usage proliferates. It should come as no surprise that local police departments and domestic law enforcement are eager to get their hands on these drones. We've seen the LA Sheriff's Department sought to get a drone before they were shut down by the FAA in 2006. And now that the FAA is revising their rules and creating pilot programs, a lot of local law enforcement are eager to replace big helicopters with smaller drones. But the problem when making that replacement with the big clunky technology with the new inexpensive technology is not just that they're smaller, but that they will proliferate, that departments will be able to afford more of them, and they will therefore be used for different purposes, not just for car chases and hostage situations, the critical incidents that we see drone helicopters.
For what, for example, would concern you?
Ordinary kinds of investigations, searches, and in fact just general intelligence. We've actually seen local law enforcement in the city of Lancaster, locally for example, now has a Cessna fixed-wing aircraft that simply circles the city with
just goes
with
around
a camera.
without any particular target.
That's right, looking to see what can happen. And when you combine that with increases in technological advances with data retention and analysis of data like facial recognition or license plate recognition, you're really creating a situation where local law enforcement can have a library, a video library of what's going on.
Sounds as though if the federal government wants to go ahead and license these, and the FAA is going to be licensing them, more and more of them by 2015, that they have the right to do that, and say federal DEA can use drones and local law enforcement or local governments cannot restrict that?
That's absolutely true.
Wow. So what are we going to see here? Are we going to see drones hovering over Los Angeles more and more? And what about the safety issues?
So I don't think that when we walk out of the grocery store 5 years from now, we're going to look up into the sky on a typical day and see it filled with dozens of these things circling. I don't think we will see them that much more often, if at all more often, than we see manned helicopters these days, for most of us. But there will certainly be some situations where you will see them.
I actually disagree with that point. I think that because drones are so inexpensive, that departments will simply have more of them and will find more uses for the technology for generalized surveillance. And I don't think we'll be seeing dozens of drones every time we step out. But I think that they will be a much more common sight than the clunky and expensive helicopters that we see today. And I think that that's a real concern if the public isn't aware of what's going on. One of the problems here is that this technology is getting ahead of kind of public awareness, so that departments are asking for them, applying for funding for them, without a lot of public discussion, without a lot of legislative attention to what the proper safeguards should be.
The other thing is not just law enforcement use, but civilian use. Now, we saw, of course, a lot of great reasons, incredible uses for search and rescue, for fire surveillance, wonderful uses. But there's also things like privacy. For example, what if the paparazzi gets a hold of these and they want to spy on celebrities?
If we as a society and our legislatures are prepared to accept police officers using drones, then we're going to have to be prepared to accept private parties using drones to access information on behalf of the press.
Peter Bibring from the ACLU, thank you so much for your thoughts. We'll be watching this issue.
Thank you very much.